Alright everyone, it's time for a video celebrating tolerance and diversity because we've made a major breakthrough in the world of far-right militias, which is that for the first time a white supremacist movement, and this is according to CNN and all these other groups, for the first time a black Hispanic is now the leader of a white supremacist terrorist organization. That's according to CNN. Link in the description. This is an archive page, and this gets into Wikipedia and its goofy policies. The people over at Wikipedia are scrambling to sanitize or delete the Enrique Tarrio article there. And if you go to the talk page, again, link in the description, they're claiming that the Proud Boys are using like the article there to defend the Proud Boys and argue that it's not white supremacist. Well, that's because it's not. You can easily class it as a far-right quasi-militia movement. You can imagine the potential for violence if they are in proximity to Black Bloc or something. Show me footage, though, of a Proud Boys member hurling a Molotov cocktail through a shop window. Show me footage of one going crazy and shooting a bunch of people. Or the Proud Boys showing up just to riot. The thing is, it's not happening. The thing is that classing it as a terroristic organization, I don't think so much. And the idea that a white supremacist organization has a black Hispanic leader, again, look at the picture of him, doesn't exactly conform or comport to the classic image of a Ku Klux Klan member. Unless it's a Redneck Ralph bedtime story. I did that one and it was very funny, but that's a joke. And so is the CNN reporting on the Proud Boys. Now, being not a member of it, nor specifically a supporter of it, but someone who comprehends what they actually stand for, the Proud Boys are essentially civnats with some libertarian admixtures. It is a militia of sorts, although part of it is ideological. Their leader literally leads Latinos for Trump, dude. And it was funny because Twitter came out and they deleted his account. They suspended him off of Twitter. Convenient. Now he can't defend himself as ably. I think they banned him off Facebook too. This has been a pattern of behavior from the legacy media and from Silicon Valley. The legacy media brands somebody that they don't like and find problematic as violent, as hateful, as a bad person. They, instead of allowing them the opportunity to defend themselves, they are immediately deleted across the internet. We've seen this even with like Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked by 3 individuals, all of which were criminals, by the way. One which, endeavored to shoot him. A shot was literally fired at the kid. He defended himself. He is not even allowed to have a GoFundMe fundraiser except through an attorney. An attorney has to run the GoFundMe, specifically because of Twitter's animus towards people who, I guess, have more right-leaning views. Meanwhile, one of the people who attacked him, who had a weapon at the time, apparently intending to fire upon him, and may have fired a shot prior, although it's not 100% certain. This individual not only has a GoFundMe, but is promoted openly by the platform. I find it funny that Twitter especially, Twitter's the big one, and Facebook, I would say, these groups have begun to engage in a pattern of behavior that is explicitly organized, number one, and explicitly meant to deny people the ability to fight back when defamed. They did this to InfoWars. Remember that? Remember when Alex Jones was blanket banned across most of the visible internet? It was a tactical campaign. These people got together, both in the direct and indirect sense, and I'll get into the differentiation because it does really matter. In both the direct and indirect sense, what ends up happening is a person is labeled hateful or fanatical in some way, or criminal in some way, and they are instantaneously denied any platform to defend themselves effectively. Other people like me end up having to talk about the issue in order to defend them. I have to defend a dude who runs Latinos for Trump for being banned off of Twitter, while being a black Hispanic individual, by the way, as though he's the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. By the way, just designated as a terrorist organization last week by Donald Trump. You didn't hear about that one in the news. You didn't hear about him freeing up business to, what was it, some billions of dollars for black-owned businesses in business loan form. You didn't hear about that except, ironically, from the furthest right that was criticizing him for it. That was hilarious. Not one mumbling word, I believe, on CNN. Meanwhile, you've got cases like this, and it's sort of like, and I sort of touched on this when I was debating Spencer. there's no such thing as alt-right adjacency. The libertarians like myself that defended members of the alt-right from censorship, both, materially and verbally, did so out of a principle of being anti-censorship, not of supporting their messaging. I'm simply saying that nobody should be censored, unless they're engaged in literally criminal behavior. I have no indication other than apparently he resold stolen medical devices or something at some point. So I guess he was technically a criminal years ago, but that has nothing to do with him chairing the Proud Boys or talking about Latinos for Trump or civ nationalism or something like that. The whole point is that these groups have been continuously trying to attack all independent content creators, all independently run groups. Anything basically outside of the lame establishment is their enemy. And so they recycle the same gameplay over and over. And they've even done it like then BitChute just got banned off Instagram the other day. Did you see that? Of course, by the way, you should join me on BitChute. This dude cannot possibly be a white supremacist. He is a black Hispanic. There's no way that he can't join a white supremacist movement. I love when they keep saying like, well, more and more Hispanics are adopting white supremacist views. Okay, there are people named Enrique who happen to be white while being of Hispanic origin, because Hispanic is an ethnicity, not a race, or a pan-ethnicity, I should say, not a race. Hispanic has never been a race and never will be. You can be black and be Hispanic. A lot of people are. You can be very white and Hispanic. You can be largely Mesoamerican and Hispanic. You can be, literally, anyone from anywhere in the world can move to a Spanish-speaking country, have a kid there, kids speak Spanish, and they're considered to be Hispanic. It doesn't matter what race they actually are. A couple from China could move to Mexico, have a child, that child happens to learn fluent Spanish. They are considered Hispanic under racial characterizations in most countries, despite the fact that they are purely of Asian ancestry. Their parents are literally Han Chinese. It's a meaningless moniker at this point. Yes, there are people who are white and Hispanic who join white supremacist movements. This individual is black. And again, there are many white supremacist movements that don't like Hispanics, have a problem with it. They probably wouldn't like this dude. If you actually pay attention to the bants coming from the genuinely white supremacist side of the right wing, you will find almost universal condemnation of Trump at this point. They derisively call him Zion Don because he recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and stuff like that. They speak about him in only the most derisive terms. They don't like the dude. They consider him a sellout. Richard Spencer crucifying him, pledging to vote straight Democrat. He loves Biden now. Of course, I would say technically that's appropriate because Biden does have a longer track record of saying like racial things. I don't know what racist Twitter stuff Spencer was talking about. I think I would rather focus on the racial jungle comments of the 1970s coming from Joe. I can't really find any genuine examples of Trump saying anything racist. What, because he ate a taco bowl on Cinco de Mayo and pitched his own business? Oh yeah, we've got the best taco bowls. They're huge. Look at the size of my fucking taco bowl. It's bigger than yours. Haha, I'm a rich person. I put gold foil in it too. And that's basically the limitation of Trump's ethnocentrism. Basically, the only ethnicity Trump likes is Trump. I'm just pointing that out. He is a blind egotist. This is completely insane, though. I'm very, very celebratory, though, at the moment, because we've made a great breakthrough in diversity. When even white supremacist groups are embracing black Hispanics, and even allowing them to lead their organizations, we have come a long way as a nation. Martin Luther King is looking down with tears of joy in his eyes. Malcolm X is nodding and giving us a thumbs up. We have come so far when a black Hispanic man can be the head of the largest, most evil white supremacist terrorist organization, to the point where they're talking about scrubbing his wiki article because it shows that this entire fucking thing is a goddamn charade. It's totally goddamn useless. That's about all. Peace out.